Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work? Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, and I'm going to have a special guest I'll be interviewing here today on the show. He's actually had over 3 decades of experience in the industry. But first things first, let's go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping. So first, I want to go ahead and thank my patrons out there at patreon.com/crowdpleaser. It is because you guys out there supporting this show that I get to do all the great things that I do for you and make your lives a little bit better, a little bit more entertaining, kind of take the stress away from driving to and from work. As usual, we sign up certain perks like asking questions of the week, getting behind the scenes footage of choreography and photo shoots, and today we're going to be doing a giveaway. So today I'm going to be giving away a t-shirt from my reality show, Caesar's Crowd Pleaser Contest. Season 1 is on YouTube. Definitely check it out on my page. Today's winner on the Patreon is going to be Nicole Ramsey. That's right, congratulations. You will be getting that shirt out in the mail to you here soon, so be on the lookout for that. Next is La Bear Dallas. My headquarters home station where I'll be operating 5 nights a week, Wednesday to Sunday, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Bachelorette parties, birthday parties, any kind of thing, divorce parties, new job, you name it, we're the #1 destination for it. So definitely come out and have a great time. All right, so this is episode 31, and I'm actually going to be doing an interview episode of a good friend of mine that happens to be subbing in this week for Kayden as DJ. Like I said earlier, he's been in the industry for over 30 years, working primarily in La Bear, Dallas, but also doing some traveling road shows and whatnot. I'd like to welcome on the show Derrick Sinclair. How you doing, Derrick?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show, man. I took the opportunity. You swim by the club from time to time for the reunion parties and stuff like that, just to check in on everyone. And you're willing to be on the show and kind of let us pick your brain a little bit about...
Of course.
You know, the industry with just the wealth of knowledge that you and very few other people like Taylor Cole, Alex, and Randy have in the business. Right. So definitely appreciate it. It's probably going to be a long episode, so let's go ahead and dive right into it, brother. What got you into dancing?
Well, I was seriously considering, and when I say seriously considering, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I wanted that more than anything else in my life. And I used to get up each morning and I would run my 5 to 7 miles. I would go to the pool and I would swim for up to 2 hours. At one time I got to the point, Caesar, that I could swim 200 yards underwater.
Oh, wow.
And I just wanted to make sure that I was ready for it. Well, unfortunately, my mother had lost a brother in Vietnam and had 2 other brothers wounded in Vietnam. So when I told her that I was going to become a Navy SEAL, she just kind of said, well, I really wish that you wouldn't. That was her way of debriefing me right there at the moment, because I was all gung-ho and ready to go and had a great body and I was in peak condition. Well, Mom, unbeknownst to me, I know that's not really a real phrase, she came out and she had a group of friends that she used to go to La Bear every 2 weeks, office parties, whatever else. And she had this little box and she came in there and she sat it down on the table. Now at that time, which, I started dancing back in 82. I graduated in 1981. Chippendales had just started, so they had posters and calendars and everything else all over the place. I can't remember.
Yeah, you need to promote, especially back then.
Oh, yeah. So they were all over the place. And I had one of their videos at the house, and she said to me, I've seen you jumping around here doing all that dancing and you keep going out winning all these dance contests, which at that time, breakdancing is just starting to take off. It was just, everyone's going from pop and lock, but then start moving more into the breakdancing. And she said, you should go over there and try that out. And, most people are probably laughing right now, but I just kind of sat there and went, really? Now, also at that time, the movie Fame came out. And if you see the movie Fame, there's a gentleman there called Leroy. And Leroy was one of the most premier, fabulous, tour jeté, jumping, spinning, the most phenomenal leaps and everything you could see in ballet. But on top of that, he was a rather muscular guy. And you couldn't get past that. Plus, I was a big fan of Mikhail Baryshnikov. So I went over to the club and I tried out. Of course, they didn't take me at first because...
Well, hold on. What was in the box, though? The box was all the flyers?
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. The box had flyers. The box had photographs. It had pictures of entertainers, all this. It was a cute little box, just memorabilia and so forth. And she said, just check it out. So I take it and I look at it, and I got a chance to memorize some of the people by faces, by names that were on there. But one person that stood out was Tommy Christ, blonde hair, curly mustache, so forth. He used to do the Sweet Transvestite for Rocky Horror Picture Show. So this is a blonde-haired guy dressed up with this lipstick and so forth and a mustache and a corset and standing there with my mom. And for some reason, I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen because I was a big fan of Prince and so forth at the time. So I was like, man, I want to meet that guy, And surely as time would go on, I got a chance to meet him. So when I first came in that first time, I went on stage and I busted out and I started doing my rendition of a guy that was in a dance contest dancing.
So you did amateur night?
No, they didn't have an amateur night. They had open audition.
Oh, okay.
You would come in on a Tuesday night. You go up there. The bartender, which was Frank Caspenson. Frank later on became my manager, 20 years later. But Frank Caspenson was the bartender at that time. And he was sitting there and he was watching me. And there was a guy named Bo Stevens. Bo said, okay, I'm going to get you guys up on stage. I want to see exactly what you guys are going to do. I had a friend of mine, God rest his soul. His name was Danny Roberts. And we both went over there because we were thick as thieves. We used to ride motorcycles together. We get there. We both try out. He goes out there and he's doing his little boot scoop boogie style and so forth. And then I go out and I dance to the song Working Day and Night by Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. And when I did Working Day and Night, they stood there. And when my song was over, they just kind of sat there and looked at me. And I'm like, this is kind of awkward. I jumped off stage, goes, hold on a second. And they sat there and they whispered back and forth. Okay, you're going to have to come back next Wednesday. I'm like, why? He goes, well, you just come back next Wednesday. What they wanted is they wanted Brent Dumas, the owner and manager of that particular club, to come by and see for performance. Because at that time, they had already had Rod and another guy named Little John working there at the club, which were men of color, Afro-American, black guys. Rod had braids in his hair with beads. Little John had the short crew cut, so forth. But neither one of them had the one thing that I had going for me. And that is, I had a dancing ability plus the body. I'm 5'9". I was probably 185 pounds out there jumping around on stage. Mm-hmm. So with muscles and so forth. So they said, well, we got to see, do we want to have 3 black guys in here? Because we never have had 3 black guys. We only had 2. If we bring him in, one of them is going to have to leave. And I'm going, wow. There's a sensitive side inside of me that says, I don't want to kick someone out of a job, but I really want to do this. And this was in Fort Worth, at Fort Worth LeBaire. At that time, they had Fort Worth LeBaire, they had San Antonio LeBaire, and they had Dallas LeBaire, which the Dallas LeBaire started off on Northwest Highway, but when it first took off, then they moved to the location which was on Greenville Avenue and Lover's Lane. Mm-hmm. So that club had probably been open for 3 years. So I get in. The next time that I go in there, I do my audition.
Which was the following Wednesday?
Yes, the following Wednesday.
Okay.
My mom and I had gotten into an argument.
Wait, hold on. About what?
Just life in general.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like...
Life in general. I may have done something kind of stupid as a, 18, 19-year-old kid. And,
No.
yeah,
Surely
yeah.
you just...
And I had a 1969 Mustang Fastback that I used to probably get in trouble with a lot. And the motorcycles and, maybe a couple of things had to do with girls already. And so we get into an argument, and she kicks me out of the house. And I'm going, well, what am I going to do? Well, you better get up there. You better go get yourself a job because you're not living here at the house. I'm like, fine. So I go up there with all of my stuff in the back of my Mustang, and I go on stage and I give it my all. Sprain my ankle on main stage.
Oh, man.
Yes. Sprain my ankle on main stage. Do a backflip, land. Oh! They're like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Because I played sports. So, Plus, I still had that inside my head. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. So.
Finish what you started.
Yes. And the choices were that evening. A, stay with LeBaire, or the next day, go and sign with the Navy SEALs.
Okay, yeah.
Or go sign with the Navy. If I sign with the Navy, I said that I'm not going to stop until I become a SEAL. I don't care. Well, that afternoon, he goes, all right, we don't have room for 3 black guys. I'm like, oh, God, all right. So I'm getting ready to leave. He goes, no, hold on a second. We're going to make an exception. I've never seen anyone with that much raw talent. I went, really? So you're going to be in. Don't mess up. Don't screw up. I don't want to see you getting involved with all those guys around here that are doing all the partying. And as he starts naming off some names, I have to be friendly to these guys at the same time. He goes, don't hang around those guys because those guys are nothing but trouble. Yeah, that's like telling a kid don't grab the cookie out of the cookie jar when mom's not here. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, while freshly baking.
Oh my God, the smell is still in the air. And as we're doing our interview in the office, those 4 guys walk in. Hey man, we're late and so forth, but he's going to go first. He's going to go 5th, and then I'm going to go up last. They were the guys that made the list. They were the guys that had they had everything in order.
Yeah.
Now, I get hired. And so immediately I jump in my car because he won't let me work that night. He goes, but you're going to come back tomorrow night, take care of that ankle. I'll drive back to the house, tell my mom that I'm going to be working at LeBaire. My mom hands me $200 and says, well, good luck, and closes the door on me. Okay. It was a pretty significant argument. And then...
I'm just going to say she had that much faith that you'd succeed. She closed the door so you wouldn't have a place to backtrack.
Exactly. And I went to work at LeBaire. And back then, we worked 7 days a week. If you were a rookie, you had to put in 6 months before you're going to get on main stage.
Oh, wow.
6 months. Now, the average age of most entertainers in that club at the time started off at about 26. We have a lot of we have some 19-year-olds in our club. We have some 21-year-olds. But average age was 26. The oldest guy that was in there at the time was Ken Sawyer. At the time, I think Ken was 42. He was the Texas Cowboy. He had his own billboard on the side of Interstate 30. And that was advertised for LeBaire. Dressed in white, phenomenal body, handlebar mustache, white cowboy hat, chaps, right there on the side of Interstate 30, right off of University, near TCU. And that was up there for at least 6 years. I mean,
and those things are not cheap.
No.
Trust me, I've looked into them. So that's definitely a testament to his career.
Yes, and that thing stayed up there for the longest time. And so here's how it went. I get in. I'm hanging out there, every single day. I finally meet a good friend that I can hang out with. And I probably put in a good 4 weeks straight, and they needed me to learn how to do a group routine because I kept seeing what I was doing on the side stage. Cassidy He saw me one day sitting over there mimicking some stuff from Michael Jackson. Billie Jean had just come out. MTV was just starting at that time. So please imagine what that was like.
Back when they would still play music.
Yes. I remember watching the very first episode of MTV on TV and watching it. And here's a little mystery for everyone. Who was the very first person of color that was on MTV? Go.
Shoot, it would have to be an artist. I'm trying to think who would...
Prince. I'll help you out with that.
Oh,
Prince.
Yeah, I was going disco.
Yeah, but Prince, when he did Little Red Corvette. So that became a routine immediately. And Rod would do the routine, but then Michael Jackson came out with Billie Jean. When that Billie Jean hit, that gave me lifeblood, because instead of having to wait 6 months, within 3 months, I was on main stage. I say that I was making $75, $50, $60, $80, $80, $80, never anything over $100. Just barely scraping it, ready to just give up at any time. But I said, no, I got to stick it out. I'm going to stay with this. Finally get to this point. Hadn't found a decent sponsor. I don't like saying the word, Yeah. Well, I'm saying sponsor. Someone to be able to say, hey, you know what? I like you. I'm going to come back in and see you each night. Sure, there's a group of ladies that would come over and $2, $2, $2. Fantastic. I'm doing backflips on side stage, handstands, everything you think of, jumping push-ups. But then when Cassidy pulled me in on that routine, and he basically had me playing the role of the photographer, shooting pictures of him in this suit that he had dressed up. And then one day he said, you know what? I'm going to be the photographer, and I want you to do the Michael Jackson part. I went, you sure? He goes, Brent's going to have a fit. He goes, I don't care. I've seen you dance on the side stage, and I need you to finally get on main stage. I said, okay. So we worked on it for like 2 days. Came up with this great routine. The rolling, the little splits and so forth, and all the little things that were necessary. And I got a standing ovation. Brent came back there and read us the riot act. What the hell are you doing? Why you let this guy? I didn't give you guys permission to get this guy on stage, okay? And all the guys band together and go, look, man, I hate to say it, but the kid's pretty much one of our best entertainers in here right now, because Brent hardly would ever watch me. He goes, all right, tomorrow night, I'm going to put you on Saturday night. I'm going to give you one set, and this is going to be your make it or break it. I had probably worked 42 days straight in a smoke-filled room. Back then, we used to use dry ice as a fog machine. Mm-hmm. Lots of people smoking in this room before the smoke eaters and whatever else. I developed a sinus infection.
Man, you're just batting 1,000 under pressure.
Divine. Yeah, and I end up getting ready to go, 3 dancers before stage, and I'm sitting back there and I'm rocking back and forth. I'm nervous. The jitters are at more than any other dance contest that I'd ever been in. And all of a sudden, I just kind of pass out because I couldn't breathe. I had a sinus infection that's so bad that it basically almost collapsed my nasal cavities. They had to rush me to the hospital. My boss comes there he goes, so you been doing drugs or something like that? I said, no, sir, I haven't been doing anything like that. Doctor says, he's just exhausted. They had IVs hooked up to me. He goes, why are you exhausted? He goes, well, where are you living? Well, who do you stay with? And I let him know, look, I take my money and I'd go stay in a hotel. If not, I was staying in my car every day. What? You're staying in your car, that Mustang? Yeah. Yes, pretty much. What happened to you think that you were living with your mom? I said, well, I couldn't go back home, and hadn't really found a girl that I can go and hang out with or anything else like that. I had a couple of them that I'd hang out with, but not staying over there full time. They'd get up and go to work. So he says, we're going to fix that. You get out of this hospital. We're going to get that fixed. Okay, so I go back to the club. Everybody's giving me a warm welcome. Tommy, Z, Archie, Ricky, and JD, along with, God, what was his name? Electric. These guys were all like the Force 5. They all hung together. They all shacked up together. They all did everything together. They, period. Electric comes up to me and goes, "Get your shit and take it out there and put it in my truck," and hands me a key. "You're staying with us from now on." I'm like, "What? You're staying with us from now on?" So I went from complete zero to being part of the crew in less than 24 hours. That came with immense pleasures because before that, I dressed in a corner. Everyone else had a locker, but I was dressed over in a corner with all my little stuff. And guys may come by there and they'll drop trash in your stuff, whatever else. It was hardcore. But I actually would get dressed in a corner in Fort Worth, LeBaire. And next thing you know, go down. I was never allowed down the hallway because down the hallway was a 2-story loft that these guys had built because these guys were, carpenters and, construction workers and whatever else before anything else. And they had a flat that they had built inside this building. And they said, "Come on, grab your shit. Go upstairs." Excuse my language. "Grab your stuff. You're going upstairs." And I had the back corner, which was a couch that you can go upstairs and you can get dressed back there in the back corner. And they had a refrigerator. It had TV. It had everything in it. It looks kind of like your locker. Okay, but as big as this apartment. And that's how I spent the next 9 months at the Fort Worth LeBaire. Is that I went from groveling to being a king. I started August the 18th of 1982. My birthday came up May the 15th. I have to look back, but that Saturday was my very first time to get a real serious drunk on. Oof. They poured alcohol down my throat. They gave me champagne on stage. They gave me the royal welcome. And then Tommy had an immense following. He had an immense, every topless entertainer pretty much throughout the Fort Worth area, they knew who Tommy was. Dallas, whatever else, all those guys, they had all their friends come in. And they said, "We're going to give Derrick a good birthday party." So out of all the birthday parties, between that one and my 24th or 25th birthday, that would be my best one because that was the first time that I received a $100 bill on stage on that night.
Yeah, that definitely is something that makes an impression when you're working on tips.
That first $100 bill, it came from Cheyenne. She walked up and she licked it and slapped it on my chest. And then the rest of her friends all threw me a $100 bill. I'm talking about 20 people.
Yeah.
They all threw me $100 bills. And I was like, I started crying on the main stage. And then all the dancers come up and they tip you. And then all the ladies tip you. So that night, going from zero to now I have $15,000 that I made on stage, I was just in awe. Would that make you want to stay with the business?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That was it.
And so, saying that, you danced for the next 25 years after that?
Yes.
And what, over the course of the career, what made you go the distance and stay so long? Because obviously this industry has a high burnout rate for obvious reasons. It's not easy. So, but what I have noticed is if you get past the initial couple of years, you can go the distance. So what took you to the 25, 30-year mark?
Because the guys that I started off with a group of men that were very serious about business, about making sure you manage your money, make sure that you manage your life. Sure, they were party animals and so forth, but when you're 19 years old and you take advice from a guy that's 42 years old and you take it to heart, you let him tell you that when you're paying your bills, you take your bills and you break it down. If you say your car payment is $300 for your vehicle, how much is that a month? $300. How much is that a day? $10. You take that $10 and you take $10 out. each day that way. And you take the same amount that you need to pay for your $78 electric bill, break it down over a 30-day period. That way you know that whatever is left is yours, and then you take it and you decide how you're going to save it. And that's what they helped me learn how to do, those little bitty things over the time period. And then after a while, I had an extreme love for the business, an extreme love. I was a shy kid. Growing up, sure, I was fast. I'll get out whenever I ran track. I played football, I played basketball, I played tennis. So I was used to the limelight. But this is something that it's never the same. One day you can be the top of the food chain, and then one day after that you could just be bottom feeder. And it's trying to.
And a week after that, you're somewhere in the top again.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you finally hit that one epic moment where you're standing on stage, and I'm sure you've had this happen. You're standing on stage and bing, all of a sudden you realize exactly what you're doing for a living. That's the epiphany moment. Whoa. Because a lot of us, you'll go that whole, I'm just having fun, but then you realize what you're doing for a living. And you realize, wow, there's so much more I can do. And if you want to do that, I wanted to travel. So once I found a group of guys that were traveling out of the United States, not just doing road shows. I did some road shows. My very first road show I did was in Denison. Once I did that, I was hooked. Oh, wow, I can go out and do this, and I get paid to do this, not just working, the dash for cash, because it really is. It's a dash for cash each night. If you're not on the phone talking to the people, doing the things that are necessary, harnessing your skills, but no, you go out of town, and then you're treated like a superstar. So I did that show, came back, they invited me to do another show, came back, did another show, so I did that for about a year. And then I got pulled away from Dallas Bear, went to another club because there were 5 guys, much stronger. We had a 10-man crew. We went to a club called The Bachelors. And once I went to Bachelors, then they had a lot of dance contests right across the street. Mm-hmm. And we'd go over there and they had the best chest contest, best body contest, best abs contest, whatever else. But just realistically, it's just a dance contest. But all of the male entertainers from all over Texas used to come to this thing. And I was beating these people that people were saying that they were the best. And I was beating them like they couldn't dance. I'll just tell you flat out, they couldn't dance. They thought they could. They'd come in doing all the high kicks and so forth. But my love was jazz and ballet. And I used to go home and practice. I'd pick up books and I'd go and get videos. And I taught myself how to spin. I taught myself how to do tours of tables, jumping, spinning, turns, and so forth. And the
hard way, finding the videos, the VHS tapes and stuff like that, not just looking on YouTube and seeing 18 different
oh my
tutorials.
Gosh. Yes. 18, that was something. Well, then I finally got my break. The big break was I beat a couple of guys from Dallas Bear. Michael Diamond, Magnum, Dreammaker. These guys were their top track, they called them the track team. Track team had 4 guys in it. And one day, his real name is Leonard Clifton Holder. He's a real estate agent now. We're still best friends. But once I got to that point with him, and he pulled me off to the side and goes, you need to come over and audition at Dallas Bear. Dallas Bear was the creme de la creme. San Antonio may have been hot. Houston, pretty much had its start. And they had already been on TV, so that gave them a really big jump. But Dallas Bear is where the meat and potatoes came from. And I managed to go over there, and I auditioned one time, and they took me. Because our audition on that day, it was right after a meeting, and they said, okay, all the guys are here. You better be on time. You better be on point. And I went up there and said, okay, I'm going to do working day and night. And the guy just takes this needle, drops it right in the middle of the record, and instead his working got me working day and night. And I was kind of, hold on a second, guys. Can you start that from the very beginning? And Paris, he says, look, if you can dance to anything. And I said, yeah, but you and I both know that song would never start right there. If you would, please just start it from the very beginning. And they're like, he goes, oh my God, we got a prima donna. Okay. And Michael Dime goes, please, let him show you why he's saying that. And I had a little routine that I do, round off back handspring, backflips into a split, and then come out of that and do a windmill on the ground, blah, 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 and then jump up and then start, ow, dun, dun, dun. And when I finished, that first 15 seconds, he goes, stop. And I'm like, what? And he goes, he's hired. I've never even seen him. I've never even thought of doing anything like that. He's hired. He's hired. And I'm like, really? They're all sitting there like, what? Where did this guy?
Now you see why I wanted.
Yeah, where did this guy come from? What? Because Caesar, it was always nervous energy. I don't really like to let too many people know that fighting against the fact that you were a person of color coming up through the 80s. This was before Michael Jackson. He hit a certain level of popularity with Off the Wall. But other than that, they had Stevie Wonder, James Brown. Prince was just coming out, but he was still in that weird stage, He was still wearing tights and so forth. This was before the Bobby Brown, before the MC Hammer, before Tupac, before, is there anyone else? Mm-hmm. Anyone else to be able to grab an image. Most of the guys that were Caucasian, they had Van Halen. If you had long hair, you can do a high kick, you got that. If you were a good-looking, dark-haired guy, you had the James Bond look you could pull off. You could pull off the construction worker, but there wasn't much for my look to be able. So I had to just generate that level of entertainment, surely on attrition, skill. Just win any way that you can. Energy. You had to. I had to be able to smile through all the adversities, all that little part where some women were afraid to come up and still tip the guy that was considered the best entertainer in Texas, because I won a contest that said the best entertainer in Texas. I went up against 50 guys and I blew their door.
Well, I mean, that always happens, though. Even nowadays, like, there's plenty of times where every entertainer gets, you're just so intimidating. Whether we smile and joke around the entire time we're on stage or not. And it's just something that you sometimes can take certain steps to overcome. Like, every once in a while, I'll crack a joke on stage, somehow do something funny just to break the ice. But sometimes you don't. I've had plenty of women tell me it took me 3-6 months to come up and talk to you because you're so intimidating. So.
Right. Well, I'm not trying to discredit what you were saying. My point was, when you're on stage and you see that the lady wants to come and tip you, she's a Caucasian female. She's sitting there with her mother, her aunt, her grandmother, and all of her best friends. And one thing she doesn't want to let them know is, out of all those guys there in the club, that's the guy that she likes. And they're all going, you want to go tip him? Yeah, I want to go tip that guy. I like what he's doing. No, you're going to go tip that guy over there instead. You're going to go. And so she doesn't tip me on Main, but she decides to strategically go to the bathroom about the same time I leave second stage, so she can walk by and shove it in my hand and go, I couldn't come up and tip you. And I had to learn how to understand that. I had to learn how to, it's not her fault, it's just how society, we've groomed our people to be that way. And
well, you're still talking about early 80s too. I mean, it's like you said, it's a different era at that point.
And I lived through it. If you're working in a club that was right across the highway from SMU, so we had the ladies that came in, they were not hurting for income, and the village where it was also located was not too far from a rather wealthy neighborhood as well. So it's kind of hard to say that there's no way that we couldn't make money at that.
Yeah. So as long as you've been dancing, like, what are some of the fondest memories that you have throughout your career, the things that really have lasted through the test of time and not only kept you dancing, but have made those memories that you've carried on with you?
The guys, being with the guys, the locker room itself, the moments that happen, the camaraderie of knowing that, look, if you're working 6 days a week, 7 days a week, I'm around these guys more than I've ever been around my family. These guys know my deepest, darkest secrets more than I would ever be able to tell anyone. And they're going to carry it with them to their graves, you know? It's like a vampire knows another vampire out in public. You see another male entertainer, you say, hey, dude, what's going on? How you doing? You're like, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You know, you see each other and you just kind of look at whoever you're with and you go, cool, what's going on? Hey, brother, how you doing? It's a secret handshake. All right, good. You know, we're comrades throughout the whole United States, throughout the entire planet. I've worked in 18 different countries. You meet another male entertainer in London, he still knows that certain persona that you're supposed to project forward about. You know, we know what we do.
Yeah, it's something that you only get through doing the job.
Thank you. Exactly. Only through doing the job. And even when the new kid comes in, you have to tell them ahead of time, hey, be careful what you say out there. Be careful what you say, who you say it about. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you want all of us on your side. You really do. You want us on your side, because if we turn against you, it's a very lonely place to be in, and we'll figure out a way to, instead of firing you, we'll make you quit. We will.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's weird because I know the job isn't completely sought after, but at the same time, I don't think it ever has been. But at the same time, when there's a certain level of, everyone talks about when LeBaire and that kind of, you know, female entertainment directed strip clubs open up, that like the popularity both from females lining up around the door and entertainers, everyone wanting to be a part of this was so popular that now I feel like the rite of passage is still about the same, because you still have to go on stage and just leave all your emotions on the door and go out and put on a great show regardless of what people think of you, and you're extremely vulnerable. But I feel like we don't get the influx of entertainers or people wanting to be entertainers that we did before. We did a little bit through Magic Mike, but so it's one of those things where, like, now you did say how supportive everyone was, but I think we're almost a little more supportive right off the bat, as long as they're not trying to step on their toes, because we just have so few guys. There's plenty of times where when you drop below double digits when it comes to a roster, you're flying through your sets every night, going up 3-4 times a night, taking time, you know, helping other guys. So now your actual time to make money is so very limited that we're almost like, look, man, as long as you don't step on your crank or completely disregard our rules, like, we'll help you any way we can to keep you here. Because
it's hard to actually hold a crowd for 15 minutes. You have to really have a good knowledge of music. You really have to be a phenomenal entertainer. But some of these guys can barely hold it together for 6 minutes. And that's the next guy backstage going, man, I'm still getting in my pants. It takes you 3 minutes to get into your clothes. And I just walked in the back door. What do you mean he left stage early? Oh my God. Yeah, that.
So on that note, what are some of the things that you've seen, some character traits and stuff that's evolved in the business or industry throughout the years? Because you've stayed with it throughout the course of the years as well, kind of dabbled out a little bit, but come back and whatnot. So what are some of the things that you've seen that has changed?
I remember going from albums and cassette tapes, almost at the edge of being able to have it on 8-track. From that, I remember being in the DJ booth the very first time that someone brought to me a CD. A guy came to me from California, and he says, hey, listen, all of my stuff is on this CD. And I looked at it like, was that a laser disc? Because I was DJing at the time. And I said, is that a laser disc? He said, no, a CD player. And I said, I'm looking at my turntables going, I don't know exactly what you want me to do with that. And he says, no, it's a CD. You guys don't have a CD player. No. Do you have your stuff on tape? And he says, no. Then we're at an impasse, because I can't burn an album.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can't figure out what to do just tell me what's on there. And I'm pretty sure that I have it, because, we used to have albums, rows of albums that were this deep. You know, you got to learn how to shuffle through there, and there'd be 10 rows that held at least 50 albums in there, and you could tell me the name of a song, and I'd know exactly where it was as a DJ, because DJing and dancing was, you know, something that I did side by side. I learned that within my first month when I was at Fort Worth LeBaire. Shane, our DJ, got sick, and he taught me how to DJ because his throat was trashed. But modern technology is what took the luster away from the male entertainment these days. Instagram, Facebook, anything that had the ability to take a video and allow you to walk away from that moment right there and be able to show it to all your friends, then the point of people coming in to see it, there's no need for them to come in and see it. I just watched your video right here in the front seat of my car.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about no filming inside the club. Absolutely insanely adamant about that. To the point where even a lot of my fans and friends help do the same thing. In fact, I had a friend of mine last night do that, where she caught a girl recording, so she just conveniently positioned herself in front, in between the stage and the camera.
Sorry.
So the lady, because of that, exactly. And it's uncontrolled. You don't know what they're posting, how they're posting it. And I mean, there's nothing worse than knowing that the routine that you sweated, you know, blood, sweat, and tears and time to put together is all of a sudden freely online. So for everyone to see, and you're right, on one level it might entice people to come see it live, but the majority of the time they're like, oh cool, that's really neat, all right, I'm good, I'm just gonna keep experiencing the world through my phone. So initially, you know, we talked about the billboard thing and stuff like that and radio. How has social media and the technological age influenced promoting and advertisement and stuff for the venues?
The same thing that hurt us is the same thing that can help us, because, you know, there used to be a time where I'd have to take a Polaroid, wait for it to develop, and then take it somewhere, get a shot from that, and then take it to a printer to be able to have it blown up onto a large, to be able to make it into a poster. Now I can take your picture and I can send it to your laptop, and you can have that image and you can have it printed up as soon as you want to, or basically have it thrown up on an image. So that same things that hurt us are the same things that can help us along the way. Promoting is something like what we're doing right now. You know, this is going to be seen by 1 million people as soon as you put it out.
I appreciate your positivity on the popularity of my show.
Well,
I don't think we're quite there yet, but
I'm on it.
I got it. Your followers. Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I'm on it, as soon as they hear that I'm on it, yeah, you're going to get another. You know, I'm worldwide now.
Got it. That makes sense. Hey, 18 countries, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My favorite one out of all of those would be Singapore. Yeah. Singapore and Scotland, and definitely have to say I love Canada. Being in Norway was, you know, absolutely breathtaking. Paris, France, you know, that was unbelievable.
Right, but so what you were saying as far as advertisement and, you know, using technology to get the word out.
Yes.
So even though putting too much of our information out there is hurtful, but the fact that we're able to reach so many more people so quickly,
yes,
kind of creates a positivity out of it. Yes.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Now, do you feel like advertisement back then was more personable, so you had a higher success rate, or is it strictly just a numbers game?
It was because of the fact that there was so little. So little advertisement that when you finally did see something about it, wham, oh wow, and then word of mouth was the only way that it was going to travel past a poster. You know, there wasn't going to be someone going to step up there with their phone and take a picture of it and go ahead and they could post it on Facebook. You know, it would take word of mouth. Imagine going into a country. You know, we went to Scotland. And we had a guy go out, and we only had 50 posters, and we put those 50 posters out. And the very first club that we had a large turnout was a place called Rosie O'Grady's. Rosie O'Grady's maximum capacity was 500. We had 2,800 women crammed off in this room. I'm saying we're
wow.
breaking the intensity level was as soon as you walked in, you could feel the heat from their bodies.
Yeah.
That was a frightening moment. 8 guys, 3 guys that we used as waiters, 5 guys that we used as entertainers, plus the extra help that they had in there to spread around and to sell drinks that night. That's a scary moment because if something goes wrong and they turn on you, you're done. There's no way you can.
Extremely outnumbered, yeah.
You're extremely. Yeah, there was a moment where we got mobbed in a place. You know, we hit this one particular town, and this one girl, she just decided, goes, I want to see. And she snatched one of our entertainers' things. He grabbed it, and the other goes, yeah. And what do you do to diffuse that? Instead of, you don't pull, just go, do it. Do it. Go on. What? Just do it. Don't touch me. Come on. And they're like, no. But as soon as he went to pull, I watched the crowd shift into that primordial stage of, yeah. I was like, just let her do it. Let her do it. Please let her do it. Because I don't feel like hitting anyone right now. And if I punch someone, then it's going to go into the next level. And
escalate from there.
There's going to be a chair. Yeah, there's going to be a chair. Yeah, no. Just let her do it. And he's like, oh my God, this is so scary. And then you just go from there.
Right on, brother. I appreciate it, man. We're getting close to work time now for us, so
yes.
We'll go ahead and wrap it up this show. But every show we do the best and worst events of your week. So I'll start off with my not so best event of the week. It was Thursday night. We were going through our routine and stuff like that, and things were all good. There happened to be a more mature lady sitting smack dab middle of the pit, front seat. She had best seat in the house the entire show. So she was sitting there waving her $5 bill at every single dude that was going up on stage, but never getting up, just holding it up and kind of crinkling it in her fingers and stuff like that. So we kind of got the idea that, you know, this lady just was either drunk or just didn't know how things worked, and it was fine. A couple guys tried goading her a little bit to get up to the stage, but she never did, and that's fine. She was just yelling stuff. Turned up my time to go up on stage. I had a couple of friends there. There were a couple of ladies that were trying to help out the guys and bring all the new ladies up to the stage and stuff. So they end up grabbing that lady and bringing her up to the stage, right? She was hesitant a little bit, but she walked up and she started saying stuff and whatnot. Nothing really worth mentioning, just kind of minor obscenities, not vulgar or anything, just, you know. And eventually, you know, one of the girls was like, look, hey, give her some attention, Caesar. And I was like, oh, man. All right, fine. Let's see how this goes. So I go to take a knee, and the first things out of her mouth, they're like, let me see you twerk. And I'm like, I don't twerk. Like, I'm a dude. I'm here putting on a show. I'll dance. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like it's dog and pony tricks. So I normally don't indulge people that just randomly throw out stuff as if I wasn't trying to entertain them for the last X amount of time. And so she waves up the $5 bill again or whatever. I give her some body rolls, and then she's like, yeah, you're just average. Like, and then she looks over at the girl that pulled her up there. He's just average. And I was like, sweetie, I'm actually below average, but that's all good because you're at a strip club coming to see me. And she just kind of looked at me like she didn't know how to process that, which is exactly why I say things like that. And so I didn't even bother trying to collect the tip. I just at that point got up, and then she went and said something else. I don't remember. I kind of disregarded her at that point. And then finally she went, and then she stood at the front of the stage, 3 feet away from the stage, which I don't hate when people do this, but it's not my favorite thing because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm already a short human being, but then other guys will probably have trouble trying to interact with you at 3 feet. We're not that scary. We can't come up to the stage. So I just ignored her, and then eventually she sat back down. But sure enough, while I was on side stages, she was yelling more obscenities at the guys and holding up $5, which I really emphasize that this is the less best event of the week, because the thing is that that happens all the time. So it's really not a big detriment. I'm not like, oh my God, some girl called me average. Come on. Every guy that works at Le Bear is above average, to say the very least. If not, they would not be working at Le Bear. So that's not an issue. And plus, you're a random stranger. You haven't built up any kind of equity with me where your opinion can influence me that much. Now, granted, let's say if one of my fans for the last 4 years came up to me and was like, Caesar, that wasn't your best show. then I will totally take that to heart and understand and find out where I was lacking. But it's crazy to think that certain interactions and people that do that, like she could have had a perfectly great time, but decided that she just wanted to stroke her ego by putting guys down, which happens. So this show's about information, and that's giving you some of the information that we come across. And I don't hold it against the lady that brought her up to the stage, because obviously she didn't know. It's one of those things that we pick up as guys because we're used to seeing that. We know what to look for, but it's not quite the same when it comes to other people in the crowd. So yeah, my best event is going to be Saturday night. Yeah, oh man, so last night, it was so great. I did my stage. I was finishing up my side stages. One of the waiters came up to me and was like, hey, just wanted to let you know when you get the chance, I have a dance. I'm like, well, I have to finish my side stage. He said, no problem. I already told them that, so just let me know. I said, cool. So I get off side stage. I do a VIP that was waiting for me. I go looking for the waiter. Couldn't quite find him. Went ahead, did another VIP, and I kept looking for him. Finally crossed paths with him. And I was like, sweet, man. Hey, does that dance still want me? Because I know it's been minutes. He's like, yeah, come on with me. So I go, and he takes me to one of the low tops near the DJ booth. And it happens to be three older ladies, not insanely old, like, probably in their 40s, I want to say. Turns out it was the birthday for they were all sisters, and it was the birthday for the oldest sister. She was 51. Mind you, she did not look 51 at all. I would honestly put these ladies late 30s, early 40s. So whatever they're doing works. And they were, I don't want to say they were foreigners, because I'm not sure. That I know they are of foreign descent, because they all had thick accents, which was super sweet, and I'll tell you why. So they got a table dance for the eldest sister, her birthday. So she was absolutely amazing. So I decided to just do the table dance right there, because it was convenient, it was quick. I had a couple other dances to do, and I just kind of felt like they had the party vibe. So I moved her chair, with her still sitting in it, which absolutely like excited her, and I started dancing on her. And I don't want to go into like utter detail, but it was just absolutely amazing, because so the birthday girl was having just an absolute blast. She was like, oh my God, this is so great. Mind you, thick foreign accent. You are the most beautiful man I've ever seen. And like one of her sisters, the one that I assume paid for it, is sitting there. She was towards, behind me kind of. So she was playing with my hair, and she's like, oh, you have the softest hair I've ever seen. Touch it. It is so good. And then the other sister is sitting there and like, is it okay if I touch your arm while you're dancing on her? And so she was rubbing on me, and like all three of them were just having an absolute blast. And look, don't get me wrong. I like when people find me sexy. I like when women are enjoying it. I like it when they're in the mood. I like when they feel the intimacy and whatnot and just fun. But like these ladies, like talk about the straight up just happiness, enjoyment, fun energy. They had it. Like it was amazing, because honestly, it's moments like that what I live for when it comes to this job, because not to knock sexual tension, but we're there to sell fun and a great time and improve people's moods. And these ladies were on cloud nine, and it was absolutely great. Like there was no level of disrespect, no level of awkwardness, no nothing. They were just having a plain old good time and exploring things that they've never done. And I mean, compliments flowing left and right. They just didn't, I don't think they had controls over their mouths at that point. And absolute blast, it was great. And then I ended up having my fuzzy underwear on. So once she eventually got to my butt, she like, oh my God, this is crazy. And it was a blast, just absolute blast. They tipped me extra while I was doing on the dance, which is always, generous and great. And then when I was done, I was like, you know what, you ladies are so great. Would you like a picture? And she was like, we could do that? Oh man, yes, please, that would be fantastic. And I took a picture, and once again, they were just hooping and hollering. It was just great. And so I was like, you know what, you ladies are great. Would you like to take a poster home? And they're like, what? I'm like, a poster. They're like, of you? I'm like, yes. They were like, no way. I'm like, yeah, I'll even sign it for you ladies. And they were just flabbergasted. It was incredible. And so I went and got them posters. I signed it for them, wished her happy birthday. And they just said, I made their year. Just a simple 4-minute dance, interacting with three wonderful ladies that I was excited. Like it put me, the other two VIPs I had to do that night were absolutely great. the ladies even said it, like, you are in a good mood tonight. I'm like, I have my friends with me. I just had a great experience. Like, life is great. And what better way to end my night? Like, so I definitely have to share that with all my fans out there. It's those moments that really, really help you keep doing the job, because it was just freaking awesome. So, yeah, those are my best and worst events of the week. I definitely think people are going to be excited. You have just a wealth of knowledge to pass on, wisdom.
Thank you.
That I would love to pick from, and as well as the listeners and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that.
My compliment to you. I love what you do. I really do. I never get a chance to tell you enough that I love the overall victories that you keep trying to accomplish each time that I see you. And I've watched you from the shadows, even though you didn't know that. I've watched your success from the very first time that you ever appeared on Facebook, the very first time that you ever appeared at La Bear. I'd see the posters and whatever else, using modern technology to follow you. And I was like, wow, fantastic. I thought you'd be taller, but still.
Yeah, that's why I had the mohawk and the New Rock boots, man. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, buddy.
I got big shoes to fill. There's plenty of guys, so I had like great entertainers that I'm trying to look up to. And, you know, if you keep striving to be the best, that's about the only way you're going to reach it.
They're looking up to you. Don't worry about that.
Well, I mean, we already established I'm 5'7". Not many people look up to me.
Nah, that's okay. They're looking up to you still.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate having the show, man. How can people reach you? If you want, you can totally give social media or whatever. If not, no big deal.
Look me up at Herbert Reeves Jr. Facebook.com.
Sweet.
Okay?
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you being on the show once again.
Peace, brother.
Yep. You have a great night.
All right, I'm out.
I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Oohs and I scream as loud as you don't. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.